Hey Willowbrook, welcome to another Daily Devo. My name is Jared. I'm one of the pastors at the Madison campus. Have you ever wished that the Bible would take some of the big concepts of what it means to follow Jesus and just have a verse that explains it, defines it, tells us exactly what it means? You know, deep concepts like grace. Don't you wish there was a verse that just says, this is what grace means? Well, we don't have that for a lot of things in the Bible. Sometimes we have to put this verse together and this verse together and study a lot to understand what something truly means. But when it comes to faith, we actually do have a verse in the Bible that defines exactly what it means, and then throughout the rest of the chapter gives us a perfect illustration and stories of what faith really looks like. So that's where we're at today, Hebrews chapter 11. Let's look at verse 1 where we see that definition. Now faith is the assurance of things hoped for and the conviction of things not seen. Hey, what a great definition. It's only faith if it is something that we cannot fully see. You know, if I am walking at night and I can see through the help of a flashlight what my next steps are going to be, that doesn't take much faith to take those next steps because they are things that I have already seen. But if I'm walking and I don't have a flashlight and it's pitch black and there's no street lights around, every single step is a step of faith because I don't know what is ahead and where my feet are going to land and what they are going to encounter. And that's really true of our lives. You know, we can take steps to try to understand what the future is going to look like. We can try to have a sense of control, but ultimately, so much of our lives and so much of following Jesus is about faith. It's about trusting in things that we have not yet fully seen. And the rest of this chapter goes on to become what we have known and begin to call the Hall of Faith. Just like baseball has the Hall of Fame and in Cooperstown, and you can go and you can see some of the best that ever played the game and stories about their careers. Well, these stories mentioned in Hebrews chapter 11 are some amazing people. Now, people, remember that, I'll come back to that in a second, that lived out faith on extraordinary levels. But what I don't want you to do is make the mistake of thinking that these people in Hebrews chapter 11, people like Noah and Abraham and Sarah, we could go on, that they were like people in a movie. They were characters that, you know, superheroes that were just flawless. No, these were all human beings, and because of that, they're all sinners. And we can point to person after person as they are mentioned here in Hebrews 11, and we can recall their stories of faith, but we can also recall their stories of failure. So don't look at this and just be absolutely intimidated and say, I could never be like them. No, you can absolutely be like them because they were ordinary people that messed up, but also trusted in an extraordinary God. And you can do that too. Now, I'm going to just show you, before we go today, a verse that always sticks out to me. It's Hebrews 11:6. It says, "And without faith, it is impossible to please God. For he who comes to God must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of those who seek him." It all comes back to faith when it comes to pursuing God. It doesn't just mean that believe that God exists. Remember, James says that even the demons believe that God exists and shudder. No, what's required is that we trust in the Lord. That's what we did when you got saved. You trusted Jesus as your personal Lord and Savior. So what do we do as we continue out our Christian life? We just keep on going with that. Every situation that comes our way, every challenge, every unknown step, we have to put our faith in God, because without faith, it's impossible to please Him. Willowbrook, I hope you have a great day.